Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my review for Avengers Infinity War, the brand new Avengers movie, part of the MCU universe, the 19th movie of the MCU, and holy shit, it was incredible. I literally have not many ways to describe it because it's just such a good film. I would say my favorite MCU movie, possibly my favorite movie of all time, honestly. Now, I know people are like, oh, how is that possible? You know, there's so many movies out there. Well, first of all, I haven't seen every movie out there. So, you know, if you say, oh, this movie's better, well, I haven't seen every movie. From the movies that I've seen in my life, Infinity War, I think, impacted me the most out of anything. It was the most hyped up for me. It was the most enjoyable, entertaining. I mean, there was not one point throughout the entire film where I was bored. That's a good sign, because most movies, they have those scenes every now and then that you're like, all right, it's dragging on. All right, I don't really care that much. You know, stuff like that. That happens in all movies. It's normal. You know, you get like a 5-minute, 10 minutes talking scene, and, you know, if you're not invested in the story and you just don't care about the dialogue, it gets, you know, a little boring. This film didn't have one moment like that. And a lot of MCU movies are like that. A lot of MCU movies don't have many boring points to it. I think part of that is the comedy they drop into it, and just the characters, the acting, the just incredible soundtracks. They all keep you invested into the story. Whether or not you're interested in the story, you're still going to be interested because of acting, the characters, the soundtrack, the whatever it may be. But the story here was pretty fucking great. It was pretty deep, and it was pretty entertaining. So it didn't even need the amazing action, dialogue, character stuff, comedy. It didn't even need all that to still be incredible, because the story there was still such a deep and emotional, impactful story. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I needed at least a day to make this review, because I saw it yesterday, and I could have made the review last night. I could have made the review earlier today, but I needed some time to think about it. I mean, I'm going to go see it again tomorrow, but, you know, I didn't want to wait that long to make this review, because, you know, maybe I'll get more insight after a second watching. But I'm not going to lie, after the first watch of it, like right when I got out of the theater, I wasn't disappointed, but I was kind of just like confused and just like not really. I mean, I was a little underwhelmed in some ways, and I'll explain. And now you might be confused as to why I'm saying I was underwhelmed when I literally just said it's the greatest movie of all time. Because honestly, I needed a couple hours to think about it. I literally been thinking about it all day. That's all I've been thinking about is this film. I've been thinking about it. I've been listening to soundtracks of it. I've been rewatching scenes off YouTube, watching people's reviews, and it's just dawned on to me that this movie is a lot more incredible than I first thought of it. So I'm not going to get into spoilers right away. Spoilers I'm going to do a little bit later in this review. It's going to be kind of like a mullet style, where at the beginning of the review it's no spoilers, and then at a certain point I start saying spoilers. So for people who haven't seen the movie yet, you can watch up to a certain point. I'll let you know when I'm going to start saying spoilers. So I think one thing you have to do is, when you go into this movie, you have to look at it as a part one. You can't look at it as a whole full movie sort of a thing. Now, they were planning on doing this previously. They were planning on splitting up Avengers 3 into two parts, part 1 and part 2, which is going to come out in 2019. But instead, they're still doing that. They're still doing two films, two parts. But instead of calling it part 1 and part 2, they're just calling it Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. Personally, I feel like they should have just kept it as Avengers 3 part 1 and Avengers 3 part 2, because it feels like that's just necessary, because this is not a full movie. The whole Infinity War story is just such a long and in-depth story that they couldn't fit it into just one movie. It would be like a 5 or 6 hour movie. That's why it's split up into two parts, and the next part's coming out pretty soon, actually, just over a little bit of about a year, I think. It's May 2019, I believe, something like that, which is really exciting. I'm very excited for that film. They already started filming, and I'm just pumped to the absolute max for this film, because this film was incredible, but it wasn't a full film. It was more of a first half of the film. That's why it felt underwhelming to me. That's why I was underwhelmed when I left the theater, because I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it being one part. I didn't. I thought of it as one film. Now, I already knew that they were, splitting into two parts. I just didn't think about it while I was watching the film. It didn't dawn on to me. I just kept watching and trying to enjoy it. And I was expecting a big reunion between all the Avengers. We were going to get them all together, Iron Man and Cap, and we're going to get some big battle in New York City after the big battle that they already had, because there was a huge battle in this film. It was incredible, but I was expecting them to, go to New York and have some huge Avengers-type battle. We're going to get a shot with literally every Avenger in it. Maybe even Ant-Man would come in and Hawkeye, because we were missing them. But then it ended after, first of all, incredible things happening. And I was kind of confused, because I was like, well, where's the rest? But then I realized it's part one. There's a whole nother part that's waiting for us next year. They had to split into two parts, and looking at it like that makes this film 50 times better. It truly, truly does, because I know that we're going to get them together in the next film. And I'm honestly like, it wasn't predictable at all. Now we're going to start getting to spoilers, by the way. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, I would stop watching this video. But it was okay. It was unpredictable, I have to say. Everything that happened in the end was unpredictable. So let's go through everything. So first of all, I want to talk about character deaths. I think that's important to talk about. A lot of people obviously died in the film, but the only ones that certainly died, I don't think anyone certainly died. That's the only I don't know. It's confusing, because the MCU does this a lot. They don't really stick with character deaths, but it makes sense. It's like a magical, superhero type universe. People are going to come back to life. That happens. People are going to seem dead and not die. But I feel like MCU does it a little too much, where they fake us out. Well, not really fake us out, but where a character comes back to life or is seemingly 100% dead and comes back. I mean, we have so many characters like that. We've had, okay, let's go through. Red Skull, which I thought he was 100% dead, and he comes back in this film, which was really weird. Bucky, which that's not really that big of a deal. That was, that wasn't as big of a deal. He didn't come back to life. He just survived the fall, I guess, whatever. Obviously, tons of others like Loki. Loki was a huge one that everyone thought was dead, and he obviously came back multiple times, actually. Like, I don't even know if he's dead now. I have no idea. He seems dead, but like he, obviously with time travel, you can bring people back to life and all that. So it's just Agent Coulson. Everyone thought he's for sure dead. Obviously not. Came back to life, so he's not dead. And, a couple others, they do that a lot in this universe. And in this movie, we literally had so many people die, but they're all going to come back. For the majority of them. Now, what makes this possible is going to be time travel. Now, these other characters, obviously, other things allow that to happen. But time travel, which is possible with the One Stone, is what will bring back these characters, is my assumption. But is it going to bring back all the characters? Because the characters that, dissolved, that were killed by Thanos' snap, those ones, I don't think any of them are dead, honestly. I think they're all alive. They're all safe. I think we'll get some actual character deaths in Avengers 4, though. I think we're going to get some actual, guaranteed deaths. Like, people who are definitely going to die, like Iron Man and Cap and stuff like that. So, be prepared for that. That's going to be crazy. I was expecting that in this movie, too. I was expecting to have character deaths of Iron Man and Cap. But, like I said, I forgot that there's literally two parts to this Avengers. It's not... it's not like Avengers 4 is a completely new story. It is still a continuation of the Infinity War. So that's interesting. But in terms of characters who died, otherwise we had Loki, the black dude from Thor, I forget his name. Sorry, I forget his name. And then Gamora, which I was really, really surprised by Gamora's death. First of all, I don't know if she's still going to be alive or not. I'm pretty sure they're doing a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So I don't know how they're going to do without her. That's why I think she's going to come back in the fourth Avengers. I think they're going to do this whole time travel thing. Possibly even Loki will come back. Possibly even that black dude. And then, of course, you have Vision, who died as well, which It's possible he can come back. I don't think he's going to come back. I think if anyone is going to stay dead, it will definitely be Vision. So that's upsetting. And then we have, that was about it for like the character deaths that weren't included in the dissolving characters or whatever. So I'm just interested to see how this is all going to play out in the fourth one. I really just cannot wait for it. And a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I loved how it was split up into certain sections, the movie. They really did a good job of splitting up the characters and giving everyone, their proper amount of screen time. I think Captain America is the only character that got less screen time than I wanted. I definitely wanted more Captain America. But yet again, he did have 3 solo movies plus the 2 Avengers films. And he was probably like one of the most main characters in both the Avengers. He was very prominent in both of them. So, maybe it was necessary. Maybe he's going to get a lot more screen time in the 4th Avengers. I don't know, but from a standpoint of a big Captain America fan, I was expecting more of him. And surprisingly, we got mostly Guardians of the Galaxy. So something I've noticed with Avenger films is that whatever villain, they usually like base it off of a villain that is from a specific hero's world. Not really world, but like, story. Like, for example, Avengers 1 was kind of like Thor 2 almost, because it had Loki was the villain and it was just Avengers were in it. Avengers 2 was kind of like an Iron Man 4 type of a thing because it was, Iron Man's villain, and therefore Iron Man was like the most prominent character in Avengers 2, as well as Thor was one of the most prominent characters in Avengers 1. Civil War, which obviously isn't an Avengers film, but still had a Captain America, oriented story, was obviously oriented towards Captain America. I mean, obviously that was a Captain America movie, so it obviously was, but you get the idea. And then Avengers 3 was a Guardians of the Galaxy villain who kind of were the main characters in this one. Honestly, Guardians had a lot of screen time, a lot more than I expected. I didn't expect them to have nearly as much as they did, but they had a ton of screen time, which I'm not even mad about because I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're some of the most interesting characters in the MCU, so I was glad to see them. Doctor Strange, like I said, the film of Doctor Strange I enjoyed, but I didn't love. It's definitely lower on my list of favorite MCU films, and this film made me want to go back and see Doctor Strange again because I was more interested in his character in this film. So I definitely am going to go check out Doctor Strange again because I've only seen the film once. I didn't watch it more than once. So, because I wasn't that, hyped about the film or anything. I wasn't that into it. So that's why I never watched it twice. But after seeing this film and seeing Doctor Strange in it, I kind of want to see it again. So I might do that. Spider-Man was great in this movie. I mean, that scene, Tom Holland, holy shit, man. I cannot wait for Spider-Man 2 and 3 and whatever other films Spider-Man decides to be in because Tom Holland kills it. He is one of the best young actors that I've ever seen. The way he pulls off scenes is just so incredible. Like that scene where he was dissolving after Thanos' snap and he was like he was like falling. He's like I don't feel good, and he's like I don't want to go. And the way he portrays a kid who is scared is just so fucking incredible. So fucking incredible. I mean, he killed it in Homecoming with that one scene where he was yelling for help. Like, he really plays a great superhero. He plays an amazing Spider-Man overall, I have to say. I think the only problem I've ever had with this new Spider-Man is sometimes it's kind of annoying how he's 95% of the time CGI. I'd rather have it be more practical than CGI. But nonetheless, the actor himself kills it as Peter Parker. Like, the problems I have with this Spider-Man, this new Spider-Man, has nothing to do with the actor. The actor is incredible. He's the best Spider-Man we've ever gotten, for sure. Better than Tobey, better than Andrew Garfield, even though I love Tobey and Andrew Garfield a ton. I think they killed it as Spider-Man, but Tom Holland just kills it even more. I have to say. Iron Man was great in this film. I think Iron Man's one of my favorites as well. His father-like attitude towards Peter is so interesting to watch, and honestly, just I I thought he was dead, man. When he got stabbed by Thanos, I thought he was dead as fuck. But obviously he was able to heal himself, and I don't know, man. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. I enjoyed Thanos himself, the villain. He was incredible. I think he's my favorite villain in the MCU after this film, which, I mean, we've had some pretty good villains in the MCU. People usually give it MCU flack for having bad villains, but it's had some bad villains here and there, but it also mixes with some really great villains like Vulture, Loki, obviously now Thanos would be a big one. Ronan, I enjoyed Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought he was cool. People don't agree with me on this one, but I think Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is actually pretty freaking fantastic, which no one really agrees with me on that one, but I think he was good. Killmonger, Black Panther was cool. Winter Soldier is always pretty dope. Red Skull. We've had some great villains before, so when people say MCU has never had good villains, that's bullshit. They have had tons of great ones, but obviously we got the mix of some shitty ones like Whiplash and just some of the weirdos from Thor universe, but you get the idea. Overall, I think we've had some pretty great villains, and Thanos just takes the cake for the best one for sure. The one thing that I'm confused about is what's going to happen with Captain Marvel. Now, between now and Avengers 4, we have 2 more films. So we have 2 more Marvel films before Avengers 4, which would be Ant-Man and the Wasp, as well as Captain Marvel. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to take place before Infinity War, and it's probably going to end maybe with the after-credits scene of the events of Infinity War going down. So they're going to start dissolving maybe at the end of the film, just like tons of other people were in the world, because it was 50% of the population that was wiped out. And then Captain Marvel is going to come out, and honestly, I think Captain Marvel is going to tie in everything, and it's going to make everything make more sense. And then Avengers 4 happens, and then it's going to fix everything. They're going to defeat Thanos. I don't know how, but I think they will. Characters are going to die for good, and it's going to be like, finalized character deaths. And then it'll be boom, the end of that phase of I think that'll end the 3rd phase, right? I think that ends the 3rd phase, and then we go into the 4th phase after that, starting with Spider-Man Homecoming 2, I believe, which is going to be exciting as hell. I'm really excited for that. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of Avengers Infinity War in the comment section below. Like I said, you have to think of it as a 2-part film. You can't just think of it as the whole entire movie, because it's not a full story. It ended on a cliffhanger. It ended on there is a part 2 type scenario. So I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are too. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.